Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 101, would you believe it, of the Rent to Rent Success podcast. We've got another sterling episode today. Today, I am joined by Sharon Griffiths. Sharon Griffiths is a property investor, portfolio landlord. She is known as the Curious Connector, and she does curiosity coaching to help people achieve their goals. And you'll see why that's important for today. She's also a published author of Speaking from Our Hearts, rather. Welcome to the show, Sharon Griffiths. How are you?
All right, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's wonderful. Now, usually, Sharon, we talk here. I know you are a property investor about rent to rent. Today's episode is all about 3 things that will really help you in your property investing journey. You're a coach, and we know how important mindset is in getting results. So, I would love it. First of all, Sharon, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and maybe why you got into coaching.
Okay, how did I get into coaching? Well, I've worked in education all my life, from my career from the 1980s. I was actually a judo coach before I was a teacher, and I taught people from all ages in a variety of subjects from 1985 to the present day in schools, colleges, and for a large local education authority in the UK. In 2015, after 30 years in the education sector, I then took redundancy. I asked for it, actually. And then I went into recruiting and training citizens advocates, volunteer advocates for 2 national charities in the county I live. And I realised in November 16 that my money wouldn't last forever. And I only had my pensions to look forward to, a small teaching salary and my old age pension at the age of 67. So I decided I needed to do something to increase my income. And serendipitously, when I was thinking that in November 2016, an advert came up on my local paper. Free property training, 2 hours in this capital town, city where I was working in Essex. So I went along and I invested my first bit of money in a 3-day training. And when I was there, it blew my mind. It was February 2017. And I realised I didn't want to invest all those zeros that they wanted me to invest to do what I wasn't sure about. So I decided in February to do a little exploration. I gave myself a date of the 1st of April 2017 to make a decision. By midnight, between the 31st of March and the 1st of April 2017, do I continue with my life as it was, or do I commit to property, being where I could be, doing what I could do, combining it with my job to eventually transition out of my job so property would fund my chosen lifestyle with my husband.
So can I ask, so did you give yourself, just want to clarify, did you give yourself a day or a year to make the decision?
I gave a specific time. It was midnight between the 31st of March 2017 and the 1st of April. The decision had to be made by then.
Within 24 hours then?
I gave myself about 6 weeks because the first training paid all those zeros for 3 days, made me realise that I didn't have that money to invest, but I needed to do it. I thought I needed to do it on my own.
Yes.
And
So
I did.
you gave yourself 6 weeks to make this decision, and we all know you chose to go into property, but you said you didn't have money to invest in property. So how did you do it? How did you get started, Sharon?
How did I get started? Well, I borrowed it. I just realised I didn't have this money. So I went through a process of exploring opportunities to find where I could get money from. And I didn't know a lot. So I invested on credit cards to property mentors after I decided to go for it. And I got credit cards and I asked people to lend me the money. I got over myself. So when I did get into property, it took me 6 months for the training and the learning and self-coaching before the 1st of April to the 1st of September, that was when I completed on the first property that I purchased.
Wow. And when you said you explored ways to get money, you mentioned you borrowed it. So tell us how you bought that first property, and can you remember about it? We'd love to know the
I
details
remember.
about it.
I remember all the details. I won't go through them. I journaled. I'm a vociferous journaler. So I kept all my records of everything. So what I did was I took an ABC approach, because I'm a teacher, to investing in property. I decided to become my first client and coach myself. So I looked at my assets that I had and potentially had. That was my finances, my skills, and material goods as well, and the properties I had. I looked at my belief systems, and I realized that when money was mentioned, I went into fear. I didn't want to get into debt. You know, when I was a kid, I was told, you know, we haven't got much money. The jingle jangle from the ice cream man, it means the ice creams have all gone. And it was that belief system. Because I remember intensely 1988. And that was a nightmare. The interest rates went up to 17%. So I was fearful of getting in debt. I paid the mortgage off. You know, that was my goal, pay the mortgage off. And so I looked at the assets, then I looked at my belief systems, and I realized that they weren't doing me any favors in moving forward. I had to unlearn what I had learned. I had to undo what I had did to get me to where I was. So I looked at my belief systems, and then I look at my connections and my community. And I'd always worked in the education sector for a local authority. So people that I had worked with and the vulnerable people in the communities that I was in, investing in training for property and buying extra houses. Why do you want more houses than one? You only need one to live in. It was like dispelling all these myths that I realised weren't serving me. So the ABC approach to investing. But I also knew what I didn't want and what I did want by the end. At the end of 2 years, on the 1st of April 2019, I wanted to be in a completely different place. And that was basically having control and charge in my life and being free, like a bird flying. So I knew where I was, I knew what I wanted, and then I worked out in my own little way how to do it.
That's brilliant. So you actually gave a few insights that I'm sure are going to come up again, because a lot of people are in that space, aren't they? They want to start in property investing. They haven't got any money, but really their beliefs are holding them back, and what they believe about money. And you found that, you know, you were scared of borrowing and worried about what would happen there. And some people are just worried about asking people for money as well. So I would love to know. That's why people who move forward with rent to rent, for example, do need to have a lot of belief and to keep going when it's something new and maybe it's a little bit scary. So what are let's stop talking about the 3 things that can really help people to achieve property success. What is let's do it backwards and do the 3, 2, 1 and do the most important last. So what's the third most important?
The how follows. That's the
Sorry?
third thing. How it follows.
Yes.
Follows, yes. There are lots of things, but we're talking of the 3. Okay.
Yes.
So the how follows, and that basically means, well, it's the third one. So I can't do the 1 and 2 till you ask me, and then you'll understand how the how follows. It's the
Oh, okay. Well, let's do the 1 and 2, and then we'll come back to the how follows if we're unclear. So tell us, Sharon, what's number 2? What's the second most important thing people need for property success?
Know why you want what you want. I mean, 1 and 2 are very close. It just depends where you are, but know why you want. I mean, you hear a lot about know your big reason, but people can't find the big reason. So the why is kind of the thing that will keep you strong when you're weak and you're at lowest points. It's why do you want it? So that when you're at the lowest point, when the sun shines and it's wonderful, you just flow ahead. But when you reach that low point, and I had a few of them, okay, self-sabotage came into it. When if you know what you want, if you can visualize and seed and feel, you create a colourful musical in your mind, a colourful experience in your mind about how you're going to feel when it happens, as though it's happening now. So I knew that I did not want to be trapped. I knew that I wanted freedom. And that was my goal, the freedom 24/7 to live my life as I chose to do. Put in it what I wanted that was meaningful and fulfilling. And I call it happiness. It was an intentional state of success and happiness. The two go together. So I knew at the time, I knew that if I could enable myself to work and inspire myself to work towards what I wanted, that would be my icing on the cake. And with a date there as well, know why I wanted it and why I wanted it on that date, because I knew from my experiences in education, it's like GCSE or the first 2 years of a degree. If you are going full out and you immerse yourself in a situation, if you can't do it forever, it's not sustainable. And this is why I gave myself the 2 years. So I knew why I wanted it.
Brilliant. And so we've got 2 and 3. Let's go to what's the most important thing, Sharon, for property success?
Know what I want, know my end goal.
Yeah.
Start with the end in mind. So if I know what I want, the end goal, and I know why I want it, the how's going to follow, number 3.
Yes. So it's the most important thing is to know what you want, your end goal. Start with the end in mind. Number 2 is know why you want what you want. And number 3 is the how follows. So let's dig in a little bit deeper. Maybe you could see how you've already said a little bit how these things relate to you, but perhaps one of your clients who you've helped to work these things out, you could give us an example, maybe.
Okay, I'll give one client as an example. And I always ask my clients, what is it? I ask them a few questions as part of the exit strategy and the ongoing strategy. And it's about my uniqueness. How do I help them? Because there's all these coaches out there. And we all ask questions to get people where they want to go, to narrow the gap from where they are now to where they want to be. So I said to her, what was it, my uniqueness that helped you? And she said that I enabled her to see and realise and become aware that the first property is only one property. If you see something as just as one property, that's it. But every property takes you closer to where you want to be. Because the other thing is knowing when enough is enough for that moment in time. Because for quite a lot of people I met, they know what they want. But when they get to that, they start creating new goals. So they never acknowledge their achievements. They cut themselves out of the experience of feeling successful. So she said, yeah, it was that fact that you made me realise it's not just one property, it's a strategy. And that property feeds into the next thing. And you've got, like Darren Hardy says, with a compounding effect, you build your skills, you build your knowledge, you build your expertise. So the next time becomes easier. And it's like when I used to do judo, my judo coach said to me, learn them roles. We come from Leicester, and he was in the Navy, learn them roles. And I said, why? And I was 15, I started judo. He said, because when you practice them with a C, you will then do it so well that you won't have to, that when you will be able to practice them with an S, so it becomes a practice, but you won't need to practice them with an S because you'll be so good at it and everything will be intuitive. And she showed me that one little bit of advice that I gave her enabled her to progress. And she's actually doing rent to rent now, and she's successful in what she does. So that's just one example.
That is so good to learn, because I think it just gives you, it brings it home, the importance of it. So know your end goal, know why you want what you want, and the how follows. Tell us a little bit more about that, because most people want to know the how up front at the beginning.
Right, the how. So I've been in education all my life, and before I was in education, I did judo. and relate it to these little anecdotes, because it might enable people to see and visualize and contextualize it in relation to their life. Because it's not just content, it's contextualization. So in judo, you have a system of the grades: the white, yellow, orange, green, blue, brown, black. You also have the techniques and skills. And the more you practice in different ways, the better you become. So the how is basically, you know what you want at the end, but you have to have a path to get there. So with a car, you've got sat nav. So it's like, if you could put yourself back to an education or a schooling situation, or any situation where you've narrowed the gap from where you are to where you want to be, you've got your training, you've got your learning, you've got your education, you've got people that help you. Create your own curriculum, like your own degree or your own GCSE or O level or whatever it is, so that you can implement lots of little actions daily to take you to where you want to go. So if you implement 3, if you see your goal and you know that 3 little actions, or 1 or 2 each day, is going to be, at the end of a month, if you do 3 a day, it could be 120 little steps to take you where you want to go. So it's about identifying what you need to get you to where you want to get. That's what you see in your mind. And as you know, you've got the compound effect. So things become easier. You get in the flow. And it's being aware of this. And when you meet people, there's gatekeepers. And these are the people that enable you to enter new worlds that you're not aware of. So also in that is identifying the people that can help you as well. Because even if it's one bit of advice from one person, whether it's free or paid for, that will take you in a slightly different trajectory, or speed you up to where you want to be in your journey. So you can have a little plan of what you want to do and the steps on the way. I like working with the 12-week year, not 12 weeks. Yeah, it just works. And I didn't know about the 12-week year, yeah, but with Brian Primaran. But those 12 weeks gives you 3 months, like school term, in which to experience the beginning, experience the end, middle, experience the end. And also you get tired in that as well. So you can plan your time, plan your actions. And if you've got your little plans in place, whether they be weekly or monthly, in each day you can implement what you do. Because you can have all these things in your head, but if you do not execute any goals or anything, it stays in your head. So it's that mind shifted to the outside to carry you forward to where you want to go. And as we know, Sarah, once you're in that forward motion, you're like shooting an arrow to get to where you want. The universe provides all these opportunities, and you're on this mission to get where you want. And suddenly you get all these opportunities, but they're not all the right ones. That's what shiny penny is. So it's identifying. You become more persistent and tenacious, and as you move, because it's in your mind's eye. And they're the steps that I always go through. It's not just property, it's life.
Yeah, absolutely. The secrets to success in life. And I really want to thank you, Sharon, for coming on today and sharing these secrets to success. It's been so useful. Know your end goal, know why you want what you want, and then the how follows. So, Sharon, before we close today, is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you'd love to share with people?
Yes, the science behind it, the reticular
Mm.
activating system. As
Mhm.
soon as you're off, that is proven. It is Tony Robbins. You know, it's Dr. Joe Dispenza. Read their books. It's proven. Once you focus, it's like, I live in Essex, and when you buy a red Ford car, they're all around. Or if you're a
Mm.
grandparent, you're looking after your 2-year-old, they're all around. So it's you, when you focus, you see what you see, and it appears, and you can focus. So there is science behind it as well. So I thought I'd add that. It's not
Yeah.
all very woo-woo, but there is that science, increasingly so, being provided now.
And Sharon, people can book a one-to-one with you as well, can't they, if they want to take it further and get into it for improving their own success, which is sharongriffiths.com. And I think you're also on Facebook as well, Sharon.
I am. And I'm not Sharon Griffiths, the time traveler's wife author either.
No, you're Sharon Griffiths, the curious connector,
I
and
am.
you do curiosity coaching, and you're a property investor. So the perfect combo for anybody who's looking for a mindset boost and is also a property investor or looking to get started in property in any dimension, whether rent to rent or another strategy. So, Sharon, I just really want to thank you for coming on today and for sharing your knowledge with us. It's been so valuable to our audience. And let's end with a few words of inspirational advice. What would you say if somebody was feeling a bit low, perhaps at the moment, but wants to get started in property or a bit unsure?
A bit unsure. Right, there is this saying, Bronnie, based on, I suppose, what Bronnie Ware did when she looked at people that were dying. Was it Bronnie Ware? And they said that at the end of their life, they wish they'd done this. So really, for me, I have this saying on my bedroom window, on my bedroom wall, and it is this: at the end of my life, I would rather say I'm glad I did, rather than I wish I had. When the going gets tough, if you can say that, you can link it into the what and the why, and it boosts the energy levels within your body. That's another topic.
I love that. I haven't heard that. At the end of my life, I'd rather say I'm glad I did than I wish I had. Oh, boom. That's a mic drop moment and a great way to end this episode. So thanks a million, Sharon, for joining us. And also thank you for watching and listening. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. So remember, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer. I will see you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.